And as you have already heard and you already know, just about 1 month ago, February 26th on Sunday, just about this time period, Trayvon met with his tragic, untimely death. He was 17 years old and he was killed by 28-year-old George Zimmerman using a 9mm gun. Both were legally allowed to be in the gated community where the incident took place. Unfortunately, rather fortunately, Marion Wright Edelman, she wrote a piece about his untimely death and talking about walking while black. She says that every parent raising black sons knows the dilemma, deciding how soon to have the talk, choosing the words to explain your beautiful child that there are some people who will never like or trust him just because of who he is, including some who should be there to protect him, but will instead have the power to hurt him, training him how to walk, what to say, and how to act so he won't seem like a threat, teaching him that the burden of deflating stereotypes and reassuring other people's ignorance will always fall on him, and while that isn't fair, in some cases it may be the only way to keep him safe and alive. But sometimes it isn't enough, and it wasn't enough to protect Trayvon Martin. I don't know how many of you remember the TV show Dragnet, if you're young enough to remember. Not so long ago, but one of my favorite detective shows I've always liked watching as a kid, and probably I think it came on, if I remember, like on Thursday or Friday night, maybe Saturday night, but it featured the detective Joe Friday. And one of the things about Joe Friday, whenever he went out on a case to investigate, he would always just say to the people he was interviewing, just the facts, man, just the facts. Well, we're going to talk about the facts as we know about this case. Trayvon Martin's English teacher said he was an A and B student who majored in cheerfulness. He loved building models and talking and taking things apart. Math was his favorite subject. He even dreamed of becoming a pilot and an engineer. That's the fact. He was gunned down by a self-appointed neighborhood watch captain, vigilante, who profiled him, followed him, and shot him in the chest. Just the facts. Zimmerman saw the teen on the street, called police. He stated he looked like he's up to no good, and in self-defense, because he said he was being attacked, he shot and killed Trayvon Martin. Just the facts. Martin was walking home from a nearby 7-Eleven with an Arizona bottle of iced tea and a bag of Skittles for his little stepbrother. He was wearing a hooded sweatshirt in the rain. Just the facts. George Zimmerman had previously been charged with resisting arrest with violence and battery on a police officer, but yet he was able to obtain a permit to get a gun. Just the facts. I think what this is really all about is not so much being concerned about what happened and why it happened, but to make sure that it does not happen again. Just as sadly, Trayvon's death was not unique. In 2008 and 2009, 2,582 black children and teens were killed by gunfire. Black children and teens were only 15% of the total child population, but 45% of the 5,740 child and teen gun deaths in those 2 years. Trayvon's outcry is justified. We need to do the same for all of our children, because you know why? We are all children of God, and we should have respect each and every time. So, you say, what should we be doing? I think the expectation that we all want in terms of justice is, one, we want to make certain that an arrest is made, that an investigation into the police actions at this crime scene takes place in terms of what happened and why it happened. We need to also examine, we want the police and others to examine what you've already heard from Paul, this stand your ground law. It is certainly wrong. There are 23 other states besides Florida that has such a law. Thank goodness, not here in the state of Virginia yet. So we need to be very vigilant and make sure it doesn't happen. But more importantly than that, we need to make sure that we get illegal guns off the street. And as a mayor and a member of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, I signed on with 625 other mayors several years ago to support Mayor Mendino from Boston and Mayor Bloomberg from New York's illegal gun initiative. And we keep advocating and fighting and working with Congress and others all across this country to make certain that our cities and our neighborhoods and our communities are safe and free from gun violence. And so we need to continue to advocate and move in that direction. Next, we have to talk about what our purpose is. Our purpose is to seek justice, equity, fairness, and believe it or not, peace. We need to be able to make certain that each and every one of us, not just our children and our teens, but each and every one of us enjoy life without fear from our neighbors. We need to also make certain that we rally to give notice to both the politicians and the legal folks that swift action needs to and must take place. Above all, we also need to come together, let us talk about this most unfortunate tragedy as an inspiration, as another vehicle, a method for all of us to come together for a united cause to advocate for love, respect, race relations, civil and human rights for everyone. We must do this to do away with bigotry, ignorance, gun violence, and expand our concerns for one another by making certain that all people, everyone, have the basic life survival needs: food, clothing, shelter. We're going through a lot in this country in terms of economic downturn, but you know what? Trayvon Martin could have been any one of us, and because we're rallying for this one incident, let's take advantage of it and make certain that we advocate for all of the causes that can help all people all the time. And so in closing, I think in essence what this is really about, it's us coming together to demonstrate our love, respect for each other, but more importantly, that we also show that by working together, that we can come together as a community in terms of faith, belief, hope, and prosperity. And so with that, again, thank you for coming out. God bless you. We love you. And let's keep on fighting in the name of justice for Trayvon Martin and all the other Trayvon Martins that exist here in this country. Thank you very much.